Welcome to Undiet Your Coaching Practice podcast. I'm Stephanie Dozier, clinical nutritionist, certified intuitive eating counselor, and creator of the Going to Beyond the Food method. And after a 25-year dieting career, I decided to say hell no to diet culture and undiet my life, which also included my coaching practice. I'm on a mission to help all coaches undiet not only their life, but their coaching business. If you want to throw down diet culture, you're in the right place. Let's do this. Hello, my dear colleagues, and welcome back to episode 5, season 5. Hope you're doing well. If you've been binge listening all the episode until now, season 5 is all about getting more paying client and selling with integrity. And what's really noticeable probably for you is that I haven't given you one selling tactic yet. I'm doing this podcast for you to get more client and to sell with integrity, but I'm not giving you any action that are about selling tactic. Why am I doing that? All of my teaching thus far have been about your brain. It's been about your belief system, right? That's where we started at episode 1. The 4 things that you need to get more paying client was 4 belief that you need to hold within you in order for you to create more income, more paying client, more people that want to work with you. And where it gets very interesting for all of us here as non-diet coaches is that what I'm trying to teach you is that belief and mindset work is what you need to do to get more paying client, which is what you do with your client. So let's take a minute to step back and sink into that. What we do as intuitive eating coaches, body image coaches, health coaches, is we work at the belief level, we work at the thought level, right? And a great example of that is the work of intuitive eating and how Evelyn and Elise has formulated their principle. The very first principle is about thoughts. It's about belief that people hold with food and how that creates all the feelings, all the drama people have with food, and all the crazy action we create with food, right? The binging and the restriction of food. These all come from the belief and the thoughts we have about food. And if you are a body image coach, it's the exact same thing with the struggles we have with body image. It's all coming from the belief and the thoughts we hold on body image. And today's episode is going to be about the mindset and the belief that we have as people identified as women. And I may lapse between the term women, female entrepreneur, people identified as women. As an entrepreneur, somebody who has the identity and has been living their life as a woman. We have certain beliefs, certain thoughts because of our identity as women that holds us up in our business and getting more clients. And these beliefs and these thoughts that are holding us back in our business, one of them is our thoughts and our belief around failure. I know this through my own experience. For years, I was afraid of failure. And actually, that showed up really strongly in my corporate business career. And that led me to collapsing on stage, to burnout. I was so afraid of failing. I didn't have a capacity to fail that I compensated with taking action. because I was so deadly afraid of failing, I took 10 times more action than I should in order to avoid failing. And that led me to my nervous system completely collapsing. Another story for another day. But my capacity to fail was very low. Why? Not because something was missing in me or something was broken in me, because of how, as a woman, I was raised, what I was taught to be as a woman. And this is where today's topic is also something that you've already seen in your client, or you will see in your client as I'm teaching you this concept of failure capacity. So your ability to coach yourself through an increased capacity to fail will make you a more powerful non-diet coach, because your women identifying client have the same thing in their relationship to food, in their relationship to body. So let's get into it. Most of us as women have been socialized to be good girls. So in my Going Beyond the Food podcast, my consumer podcast, I teach a concept called the good girl syndrome. And off the top of my head, I think this is podcast 249. If you haven't listened yet, you may want to go there and listen to it. But we've been socialized as women to be good girls, to be perfect, to obey rules, to perform the rules perfectly. And in fact, that's why we unconsciously chase the thin ideal. We chase the thin ideal because we're told by society, by other women in our life, by our doctor, by everywhere, that the gold standard for body type for women is thin. And that as a woman, we need to be perfect. So we need to have a thin body in order to be a good girl, a good woman. So we pursue relentlessly this thin ideal because we need to follow the rules. We need to perform the rules perfectly. We need to be perfect. We need to meet other people's expectation of us. This need to be a good girl, to be perfect, motivate the relentless chase of perfection through our body and through our business that we are socialized to. And the relentless chase to perfection is fueled by a fear of failure. Because when we fail, it means that we didn't try hard enough. It means that we didn't perform accordingly to the rule because the rule should have made us succeed. Therefore, failure is the most terrible thing that can happen to us. So the fear of failure fuels the relentless pursuit of perfection. And all of these pattern of thinking, these ideology that are fed to us through patriarchy and through diet culture is what also keeps our client in the pursuit of controlling their food, in the pursuit of being in a thin body. The root behind their behavior is the fear of failing other people's expectation of them with regards to their body or the way that they should eat. By now, as a coach of intuitive eating and a non-diet approach and body image, you should know that, right? Because that's how you should coach your client at that belief level, right? That's why our work is primarily mindset. What I want to call out today is that same pattern of thinking, if left unexamined in the context of your business, it will fuel your fear of failure in your business as well. So here how it plays out in the context of your business. Failing in your business is associated in your brain of a woman who's been in diet culture, in patriarchy, and all the system of oppression as a sign of your personal worth. Failing in your business means something about you as a person. When in fact, failure is about the process, not the person. Past failure don't create more failure. Past failure, if seen as about the process, not the person, actually creates success. When you change your understanding of failure, when you detach failure from your personal worth as a human being, when you do the mindset work of unlearning patriarchy, unlearning white supremacy, unlearning hustle culture, unlearning diet culture in all aspects of your life, you can also look at the failure in your business to be about the process you use, not you as an individual. And probably the most explicit example of that is social media and how an unmanaged mind, a coach mind that hasn't done the work that I'm talking about here, and that comes to social media and posts something on social media and then sits there and waits to see how many likes they're going to get. And if they don't get the right number of like on their social media posts, they will start thinking that their post is a failure, they are a failure, people don't like them, and all the terrible things about themselves. Because they're making the success of their posts, in this case on social media, about them, not about the process and the content of the post or even the algorithm of social media. They take that personally. Here's where I also want you to start thinking is what determines success? So let's go back to that social media post. Who determines how many likes will be deemed a success versus not a success? When we look at business and the type of business that we run as coaches, we determine the success. We set the goals in our business, that it is a number of people that we want in our program, the reach that we want to have with our social media posts. We set the parameter. We determine what makes success or not. So in fact, when we look at it from that context, failure is the absence of meeting our own expectation. This is where it takes a slight curve from body image and intuitive eating, because the expectations are set by social construct, right? By society's expectation. When it comes to our business, we're the one defining the success. So when it comes to our business, the fear of failure is the fear of meeting our own expectation. And we are afraid of what we're going to do to ourselves when we don't meet our own expectation. What? Yep. Think about this. In the context of your business, your fear of failure is you not meeting your own goals that you've set, and how you're going to treat yourself. Because nobody's going to come, you don't have a boss that's going to come behind you and tell you how bad you are and why you didn't meet your goal. You are your own boss. So the person or the treatment or the reaction you are afraid of your own reaction of how you're going to treat yourself. I call that having your own back. So in the context of our type of business that we're running, we are afraid of how we're going to meet ourselves in our failure to meet our own expectation. How crazy is that? It's the conversation we have with ourselves when we don't meet our own goals that we have determined ourselves. All the nasty things we tell ourselves that create all kinds of emotion in our body. When I say we don't have our own back, is that we treat ourselves, we say things to ourselves, we think thoughts about our failure that is so terrible, it creates shame in our body. And no one else than us can be blamed for that, because it's the thought we have about not meeting our own expectation. So when we fear failure in our business, we fear to meet our own expectation. What we're truly afraid of at the root is feeling the shame that we have self-created with the way we treat ourselves about not meeting our own expectation. We are afraid of feeling the shame we create for ourselves. So let me give you a concrete example. I'll go to the number of clients. You put an offer into the world and you set a goal of having 4 clients in the first month, right? You do all the social media posts, you do whatever you do to market your offer. And then at the end of the month, you have 2 people in your program. Your goal was 4. So now there's 2 ways you can meet the number 2 on the goal of 4. Example A. You can think the thoughts, I failed, I didn't meet my goal, people don't want to work with me, people don't want what I have to offer, I suck at this, I don't know how to market, etc., 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 which will make you feel resentful, anger, shame, sadness, self-doubt, all unproductive emotion. Can have the same result, but reaction B. 2 people on the goal of 4, and you can think the thoughts, wow, I'll help 2 people change their relationship to food. Next time, I'll get even more. What can I learn from the last 4 weeks of marketing my business? What can I do different the next time? How can I be curious about the result of 2 people on a goal of 4? Version B is someone who knows that failure is an opportunity to learn. Version B is someone who has done the work of redefining failure in their own brain for their own life and decided to look at failure as a learning opportunity to grow, to get better, to create even bigger result the next time. Versus A, right, where I fail, I'm not good enough, people don't want to have to, they work with me, is someone whose brain is still under the oppression of patriarchy, of that culture, of hustle culture. They're still operating from social construct thinking, and they haven't cleaned it up yet. This is the same thing for your clients' results, right? I'll go back to body image. Somebody can be in a body and have a great experience of life in a fat body. And that same fat body could have a terrible life experience because of their thoughts and their belief of how their body should be versus the person who has done body image work and live in the exact same body from a year ago and now are enjoying and living a full life. Nothing has changed about the body. What has changed is their belief and thoughts about bodies. What I'm inviting you to do today is your belief and your thinking about failure. And I'm going to offer you a new way to think about failure. Number 1, failure is about learning. There's a quote here that I've written years ago. I don't know who it's coming from. So I'm going to quote you. I'm going to read it to you. And if anyone knows who wrote this quote, please let me know. The quickest road to success is to possess an attitude toward failure of no fear. And for us, as people identified as women, in order to have no fear, we need to deconstruct the good girl syndrome and having to be perfect and meet other people's expectations. We need to do that clean up mindset work. That's what will allow us to look at failure with no fear from a learning opportunity. And here's the thing. When you do this work, you're going to build your capacity to fail. This is why this podcast is called Failure Capacity. The greater your capacity to fail is, the faster you're going to create success in your life. Why? Because with every failure, you're going to pile up the learnings. Instead of drowning yourself in sorrow and self-sabotage and procrastination, blah, 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 we've all been there. When you recondition your mind to see failure as learning, you're going to take notes and you're going to be motivated at a snap of a finger to try something else with the learning from the last experience. That's what makes successful entrepreneur. In order to do that, you need to learn to have your own back. So you need to be able to assess a failure and be kind and compassionate to yourself, to not, quote, beat yourself up. And the way to do that is to learn to manage your mind, is to learn to coach yourself. In the same way you coach your client, you need to meet yourself with the same coaching capacity. Meet your terrible thoughts about yourself and say to your brain, I see you, I hear you, but no thank you. This is no longer the way we're thinking. Now we're thinking about failure as an opportunity to learn, because I want to be successful faster. So what is there for me to learn here? Our capacity to fail will dictate our success, our level of success, the speed to which we get to success, and the speed to which we exponentially grow. Even when we get to the first layer of success, to meeting our goal, our ability to fail will allow us to set greater goals and go to the level where we thought that was impossible for ourselves. How do we increase our capacity to fail? We examine our beliefs about failure, the way we were taught to engage with failure. We understand how patriarchy shows up in our life, right? Our need to be perfect, to meet other people's expectation. And then we practice failing. Yeah, we do the mindset work, but then we go out and build our capacity to fail by setting big goals. Because we're not afraid of not meeting our goals. It's because it's going to give us the opportunity to not meet the goal and instead to be compassionate with ourselves and learn. So going out and taking risk is how we build our capacity to fail. There's another quote here I want to give you, is that success often follows failure. So if you haven't yet, quote, succeeded in your business, it's probably because you haven't failed, you haven't let yourself fail, or you haven't failed big enough or as many times as you should in order to be successful. And here's the thing. You coaching yourself through building your failure capacity will make you a powerful coach to coach your client through their fear of failing. One of the most common reasons why people say no to your offer of coaching, say no to your program, is because they are afraid of not being successful through your program. It's not often said on a consultation. Like if you're doing consultation, clients won't say it. But if you have faced your own fear of failure and you have built your capacity to fail, you will be able to recognize it in your client and you will know how to coach them through it. Coaching someone through their fear of failure is not something you can learn in a book. It's something that comes from your own lived experience. So you want to get more client into your coaching practice? Don't go and read an expert selling book. Go out, do your belief and thought work on how failure is lived in your life. Dismantle your belief that no longer serve you. Coach yourself into thinking that failure is a learning experience, and then go out there and take risk. On the next podcast, we're going to talk about an area of your business where you're going to need to take risk. You're going to have to fail in order for you to find a solution. And that part of your business is setting the pricing of your program. There's not a rule that will tell you exactly what you should charge. It's going to be a bunch of trial and error. But I'm going to guide you through how you can think about pricing differently in order for you to be able to set the pricing that will lead you towards success faster to get more clients. I'll see you then. Hey folks, we're very proud to announce our Undiet Your Coaching Practice Scholarship Program for self-identified fat and BIPOC people looking to grow their non-diet business. We acknowledge a gross underrepresentation of fat and BIPOC in the non-diet industry, and we believe one of the primary key in making the non-diet approach accessible to all is by encouraging diversity in size, race, ethnicity, and culture among the non-diet coaches. So you can apply for a scholarship for the next round of our non-diet mentorship program if you are self-identified as a fat or BIPOC person. The next round, the sixth round of our non-diet mentorship program will kickstart on July 1st, 2022, and will go on for 5 months. Application will be accepted until April 30th, 2022. All the details can be found in the show note, and I'm looking forward to seeing your application coming in. Ready to shed diet culture from your practice and help more clients do the same? Awesome. We've got free resources to get you started. Simply go to stephaniedodier.com/pro series, all in one word, and access our 3 free training classes that are currently available. We also have a free PDF guide to intuitive eating and article about the non-diet approach. We also offer a variety of paid programs throughout the year to support you in your journey to undiet your coaching practice. Join us at stephaniedodier.com/pro series, and I'll see you on the other side.